I'm just. I lost the intro. Uh-oh. Wait, where did the intro go? I'm serious. Uh-oh. Found it! See, I'm here sometimes.
Killing it.
Hi, you are watching the Mac and Cheese podcast. Today's guest is a member of the writing team for PackersTalk.net and a member contributor of Cheesehead TV, right?
I mean, yeah, I'm in that family for sure, the Cheesehead umbrella.
Perfect. It's Nick. We had him on a while ago.
Yeah, just around the draft, I think, just after. So
yeah. His Twitter will be in the bio, so if you want to follow them there, please do. Okay. Do you want to? Oh, I was about to say, do you want to tell the audience a little bit about yourself? But I kind of already did it.
Sure. My name's Nick. I like the Packers, and we're here to talk about it.
Short and simple. So we have Peter here. Peter, do you want to tell the audience?
Just adding the normal dash of sanity to Packers fans by courtesy of suburban Chicago, so you know.
Hey, Jamie. I don't know who. Oh, I see Peter in the document. I was like, wait, what? I love how Peter's green in this document, though. I just love that. So which rookies do you see starting with the veterans for the Packers side of it?
Sure. So I think that if he stays healthy, Jordan Morgan has pretty much sewn up the right guard slot at this point. I think that my big draft crush, Javon Bullard, is going to be out there week one. That trio safety set of Javon Bullard, Evan Williams, and Xavier McKinney is going to be rough for offenses around the league. Going to see a lot more pressures. I'm excited as well to see Javon kind of get flexed into the slot. He's definitely got that versatility, and there's going to be a lot more safety blitzing, I think. So those would be my two that I think will legitimately start week one. There's a couple more on the bubble, but that would be my bet, would be those two.
Justin just said, I'm hoping Adrian Cooper starts. Yeah.
I'd like to see him start, but honestly, with the amount of time he's missed and the way that McDuffie and Quayer and everybody are looking, I think he'll get rotated in, but I don't see him just taking an outright starting slot right off the bat.
Peter, what about you for the Packers?
I mean, it's good to know that you guys finally moved Morgan inside because you realized you didn't want a repeat of Austin Booker schooling him for an entire weekend straight like he did at senior day. But no, I could definitely see Bullard for sure. That was probably the pick I liked most for you guys in the draft, honestly, because I think he's going to be an absolute bullhawk for sure. Oh, yeah. Very similar to what I'm hoping we have in it. The last game seems like it to see what Kyler Gordon is developing into. I see a lot of similarities with the two of them. So,
for me, I would say Adrian Cooper or Keaton. Evan Williams has gotten a lot of love today, especially.
Oh yeah.
Do you see it? Oh yes, Dennis Cockerham is here from the Trailer Park Country. Man.
Oh, what's up, Dennis?
There you go. What up, Dennis?
And I would say my favorite offensive player, I really like Michael Pratt, the quarterback that we drafted.
Yeah.
Also, Marshawn Lloyd, the running back.
Yeah, I'm hoping that he bounces back again. I mean, it's just
no laughing.
I mean, it's just I don't know if it's just the Packers, and I guess Peter, since you're with a different franchise, you can speak to this, but the number of hamstring and groin issues is just ridiculous. Like it's just,
funny that you mentioned that because Jamie literally just mentioned something about the hamstrings.
Oh, yeah.
Seems like it's the issue with the hamstring injuries in preseason. Yeah. Besides Marshawn Lloyd's.
Yeah, I mean, I'm honestly starting to wonder if it's like a outdoor Midwestern thing in general or something like that. It's just something with the ground or something, because like I've had that issue just doing like ultimate frisbee and stuff like that. So
I also got to think like at a certain point it goes above and beyond where it's like today's athlete is different than the athlete from 40 years ago, right? These kids are starting like Pee-wee going into like NILs and everything. Like the level of competition and athleticism is just raised so high that these guys are running at high octane constantly, and you're going to blow out your legs and your back going that hard all the time. So I got to think at a certain point that the strength and conditioning just hasn't caught up with the level of competition at this point.
Yeah, that, and I think, I mean, doing it for so long, similar to like knees and stuff like that, they're only going to have so much in them before they start breaking down a little bit, no matter what level you start at. They're only going to take so much before there's issues. I mean,
yep, they're not made of adamantium. They're going to break down eventually.
Really quick, Dennis is going to hop out because he's watching his granddaughter.
Oh, right on. Well, thanks for
popping. I guess that's fair enough.
Oh, whatever. He's busy though. He's a lot.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dennis, for hopping by.
Thank you, Dennis.
You know how much you appreciate, or you know how much you mean to Mac and Cheese Crew.
Definitely.
So James has a good question, Nick, and I told you we would bring this up. Kickers.
Okay.
You trust as a kicker right now?
We just want to jump into the kicker right now. All right, sure. Yeah. Okay, so even earlier today, right? I brought this up to Nagler earlier today on the Daily for Cheesehead TV, and I said literally, if I have to read one more take about kicking being an issue for the Packers, I'm gonna lose it. Like, people need to calm down. Like, it's not that big of a thing. And I know that you'd want to touch on Alex Hale and all that jazz as far as the moves. So I just rope it all in here at the same time. So I think it's a smart move that they put Alex Hale ahead of Kenneth, having him as a safety net, not counting against our P squad count while Carlson and Joseph are battling it out is a smart move. I'm pretty sure Carlson's slightly ahead. I think today he was perfect today. I think he's currently over 80%. I don't think that this is a reason to be concerned. I think that we're lucky that this is what people are concerned about, right? Like, instead of years past from like, oh my God, we don't have a number 2 receiver next to Devontae, or our defense is going to crap. Like, the fact that we're worried about a kicker is, I think, speaking a lot to the preseason this year. As far as the kickers in general, I don't ascribe winning and losing as a kicker stat. The whole team has a chance for 60 minutes to put up points up on the board, and I'm not going to throw it down on a rookie for losing a game last year in the playoffs. I really think that, I mean, Packer fans in general, I think this is just like the quarterback situation with Jordan Love, where you went from Favre to Rodgers to Love, and we've gone from like Chris Jackie to Ryan Longwell to Mason. Like, we've had elite kicking for so long that people just got used to it. And if you look at Mason Crosby's stats, I mean, that's who everybody wants to say, oh, let's get him back in the building. But no, look at his first 4 seasons. And that guy didn't hit 80% of his kicks until 2011 in his 5th year. Okay. And then in 2012, he dropped down to 60%. And then in 2018, he had the yips, and we were all scared every time he hit the field. So it's like, people have a short memory. And I would honestly quote Nagler from the other day at happy hour when I was talking to him. He said, if you're taking the day-to-day practice kicking percentage as something to be nervous about, go outside and get some sun. Like, you calm down. These are not things to be worried about right now at all.
Yeah.
So, Peter, really quick, I'm just going to get to these 2 comments. He says the kickers seem to be the lost carrier in games. Yeah, unfortunately. And then James James said, Jamie, I'm terrified of our special teams. It's just unacceptable how often it's left us down for years. And then Jamie again said, true, we shouldn't be put in field goal positions, but missed extra points have cost us games. Yeah.
And that's the other thing, too, that James is touching on, though, where you have to take into account that the long snapping and the unit as a whole has been crap for like 2 years. So it's not, you can't just throw it on Anders that he missed a kick. Like, if the snap's bad and the hold sucks, what can you do as a kicker at that point?
Right.
So do you think we cut our long snapper right now, Matthew Orzik and bring in Peter Bowden again.
Poor Peter Bowden, who's been signed and released, 3 times
I
now?
know.
Like, that poor guy.
Times. Yeah. If we sign him again, it would be 3, I think.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, I hope so. I hope that he is working. It's hard right now in think of it pre-game even, like a kicker can go out there and smack it from 70 yards in the warm-up to a game. Well, it's got to be in game time. You got to see it with the pressure on and how they perform. That's what it comes down to.
Right.
Yeah. And like that's what I had laughed at with your guys' game against against the 49ers, where Rodgers had blamed the punter for not getting the kickoff or whatever. And I'm sitting there thinking, how about you get the ball past your 30 anytime in the fourth quarter?
Right.
Also,
exactly.
One thing to notice is realize how Justin Tucker missed a 62-yard today.
It's practice.
Yeah.
They're practicing. Please
Yeah.
miss in practice. Please miss all the time in practice and get out of your system.
Right.
It's practice.
Yeah.
It's practice, yeah. And like Anthony mentioned in my DMs today, is the Packers practice field that luck cursed for other kickers.
No, it's just
time to mention that.
I think people saw a headline or a narrative and have glommed onto it way more than they should have this offseason. Yeah. And again, I think that speaks to the few holes that we're currently seeing across the roster, that this is what people are griping about. So, knock on wood, thank God.
Well, I mean, also there is the fact that Kicker is your guys' true owner, just like you try to say that Rodgers and Love are ours. Robbie Gold says hi, by the way.
That's all right. It's okay. I'm sure Rodgers feels terrible with a Super Bowl ring. It's
Peter, did you want to ask your question?
So first one, very similar focus, but just a different team. Obviously, with my gonna have 2 for my fandom here, sure. But for Bears wise specifically, with them having like that fortunate of a draft, with the Falcons making the most head scratchingly awful pick in the history of the first round, what rookies do you see making the impact and or pushing the veterans for us?
Sure. So I think the obvious one, Caleb, obviously, that's your rookie. Right. But I'm definitely a believer in Rome. I think Rome's gonna light it up. I think you guys have a great receiving core. And from what I've seen, it looks like you have a new guy in Daniel Hardy on the line. I mean, he's leading the preseason right now, 3.5 sacks, and he's got the Bears beat with 10 tackles. So I mean, he's definitely making some noise, and I would expect him to be on the starter.
Yeah. Okay. It's a good one. And I mean, that's going to be huge too, because then the more guys we can flex inside, the better that line's going to be.
Oh, 100%.
So, yeah. Okay.
I'm going to just hate on you the whole time. I'll give you some real takes here.
We love how you're not biased. I will tell you that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm definitely a homer, but like I like football, so like I like
right.
Yeah.
Justin makes a good point. Keyshawn Nixon with return touchdowns. Yeah, kickoff. Outside of field goal situations, I am intrigued to see how many kickoff return touchdowns that Keyshawn Nixon will get.
It all comes down to this new rule, right? I think the new rule is still kind of stinky right now, but it definitely benefits us. So I'm here for it. It's such a garbage new rule. It's so
Yeah. It's like, I mean, I think that one's going to actually end up hurting Nixon and the really stellar returners the same way it would have if it was like Hester and stuff like that. It's not letting them get that running start anymore. It takes away like half of their potential ability. I mean,
yeah, and I mean, I get that they're making their last ditch effort to save the play, and like this is their way of trying to keep it in the game. Like, bully for you, get it. Number one, there's going to be so many penalties from people that ran early, and that's going to affect field position and blah blah. And like, this isn't the XFL. Let's get it together, boys. Like, I don't understand. I mean, I get why they want to do the whole let's prevent injuries thing, but let's line up a bunch of freak athletes about 20 feet away from each other and have them run full tilt. I mean, that's not really going to change much for the injury perspective.
Yeah, Yeah. I mean, I was all for actually, if you wanted to like take in like the, especially with that tackle that they outlawed now, how about you really want to bring safety in, just allow the wedge block again.
Yeah. Oh man, I missed the Packer wedge. That was a thing.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Because I mean, and obviously putting this from like the Homer perspective, as you put it, but you imagine like a Bears wedge with Hester running behind like Ian Badejo and Patrick Manley. No one's touching him.
Yeah.
I mean,
and Hester got the nod for the Hall of Fame, didn't he?
yeah, well deserved too.
Very deserved for sure.
Jamie mentioned, I am a true Packer fan, but you can't be the best unless you play the best, you know.
Yeah, I mean the NFC North is going to be an awesome division this year.
Yeah.
I think it's truly going to be one of the hardest in the whole league.
With of course the exception of the Vikings dragging everyone down with them, but that's a whole nother discussion.
Okay, because you mentioned that, let's talk about the Vikings. Why not? You did it, Peter.
Yeah.
Have this on the list. Stephon Gilmore, the Vikings signing him.
Gilly Lock, cool. I don't know. I'm glad that you want to throw a bunch of money at a vet. Not going to help you out very much. I don't think that he's going to push the needle at all. Understand that if you got a good deal for him, go for it. But so, they don't have a quarterback right now, man. Like that team is treading water at best.
Yeah.
Peter, what are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, no, that's exactly like, I mean, great. You had to because your starting cornerbacks both left practice injured. Big deal.
Right. Gilly Lock 4 years ago. Oh my God, I would have been nervous.
That's a different discussion for sure.
But nowadays,
now it's like, all right, so we just throw to the other side then. Fine.
Yeah.
I'm looking at what Justin just put. He said Wicks will be like barbecue chicken alert. Because we've seen him against the Cowboys and Romeo Dobbs.
Yep.
Yeah.
Both. JJ McCarthy injury.
Yeah.
That's such a sad thing, man. You don't want to see a young kid go down like that.
Yeah.
My God. Like, I feel bad for him. And I think that I read that he's going to be the first NFL kicker or quarterback preseason to go down and miss the season. Like, torn meniscus right off the gate.
Wow.
Tough. So I hope he does, recover and get back to it. But at the same time, I don't hate that the purple incarnate Satan is going to go down.
Right. Like, I mean, obviously, and like the last just over the month that the Vikings have had is not something I would wish on any franchise, because that's a brutal stretch of bad luck.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like, why bother when you need especially now, you're going to need at minimum second string quarterback that's capable of stepping in and running the offense. I mean,
yeah, for sure.
So.
Going back to Packers for a little bit, this is funny how many people are like messing up these names now. Who was your favorite tight end, Nick? Number 1, Tucker Kraft or Luke Musgrave?
So I think that I'll answer this with a non-answer, unfortunately. So I would reiterate what Matt LaFleur said, where I would vomit if I get asked for a number 1. I don't need to choose because they're both awesome. I don't have to choose a number 1 because they're killer. And I watched them come up separately. I watched Luke Musgrave have an amazing beginning, and then Kraft came in and picked it right up. I think that we're going to get to see both of them as a tandem, and that's what's exciting. Not whether not one of them's going to excel, but that both of them are going to get to do it at the same time. That's going to be nightmarish for defense.
Let me ask you that from a slightly different perspective then, and see if that changes kind of like how you analyze it and such.
Sure.
If you had to pick right now, who would you say Jordan Love has the better connection with?
So, I mean, even today in practice, you saw Kraft peel off for a screen pass for a huge gain. I mean, he's definitely becoming that sort of swing pass to the outside. versus if you watched last season, you saw Musgrave take off the top a few times. So I think that he's more your deep threat tight end, more like I don't want to compare him to Travis Kelce because he hasn't earned that yet, but just that guy will go over the middle and go down for chunk yardage. Versus I think Kraft is going to be your yak guy that you throw the screen pass. He even calls himself the yak man.
Okay, I can see that because I was thinking back to when this was, I want to say when Jimmy Graham had started with the Saints. They had him and Benjamin Watson. So I was kind of seeing something similar to that. Yeah.
Sure. Unfortunately, we got Jimmy Stonehands Graham a little too late on our team, but
yeah.
Yeah.
Going back to the Vikings for a little bit, Justin said keep Aaron Jones from scoring any touchdowns at Lambeau.
I am nervous about that, dude. I've seen Aaron Jones play with a chip on his shoulder, and I'm like suspectly nervous about that. That dude took $7 million out of spite just to come cram it down our throat twice a year.
Didn't he say like he would bring his most like energy towards us or something because we let him go?
Yeah. I mean, you can see it in his interviews. He's the chip is like the size of Minnesota. Like he's pissed. He wants to run it. And if our run defense hasn't improved on the 4-3, he's going to torch us.
I will say our run defense looked pretty good today against Jackson, though. Lamar Jackson. It looked.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. And this is really the team that I was hoping that they would get to go against somebody that's a smash mouth team that will run it down your throat. So this is definitely the team that I was hoping for. I'm hoping that we get to see some pretty good outing on Saturday.
So Justin said, make sure no Vikings fans sit in the front row and no sombreros are allowed.
Yeah, that's what Jones said. That if he scores a tut, he's going to Lambeau leap to some Vikings fans. That's his goal.
What?
Okay.
I'm saying that's not that guy is pissed. Like he's ready to go.
Well, I think a lot of it too, and there's like no way disrespect to Keaton Mitchell or anything like that, but it's a lot different than when a running back's trying to do it than when 80% of your rushing offense is the quarterback too.
Right.
So.
Yeah, but we'll see how their quarterback does.
And to that point as well, without JJ McCarthy or your new stud court, what are you going to do? You're going to game manage and hand the ball off. So Jonesy is poised to have a season this year, man.
Yeah,
great.
For sure.
That's what we want to hear.
I outside of us, because I don't think he threatens anybody for the division right now. I want Jonesy to have a good year because he deserves it.
Yeah.
But I don't want them to do much in the playoffs.
That's fair.
I want him to be the boat, the greatest in the season, but postseason, I'm sorry about it. No, there's no love.
I was about to say, we're about to see Aaron Rodgers and Aaron Jones match up, possibly.
Yeah, I mean, if Aaron Rodgers can get past 5 snaps, we'll see what happens.
Okay, I knew someone would take it there.
I mean, I don't want to just rain down on Aaron Rodgers, but he's a 41-year-old man that hasn't played football in 2 years and isn't playing much. Like at a certain point, father time wins, and I don't know what it's going to look like. If he can stay in the pocket, sure, but he's not a pocket passer. That's not why he was great back in the day. It was improv that made him incredible.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe him and Garrett Wilson will make me eat my words. I'm sure they will on a few rad connections, but like, I don't know.
They looked good Saturday, I think. I was watching a little bit of the Jets game, and they looked good. I don't think either of them were playing, but they looked good.
That was the one thing I had seen. I think it was in the at some point, like right after it, not long after the injury had happened last season. I was watching Jimmy Fallon because he had a specific guest on I wanted to see, and part of his opening monologue was that like the Super Bowl prices have been set, and I think like some of the ads were, I want to say like a couple $100,000 for like a 30-second spot. There hasn't been that big of a waste of money since the Jets signed Aaron Rodgers. Ouch.
Oof. I mean, what pundit said it? Oh, I don't remember. Oh, it's Orlovsky. He said that might go down as one of the worst trades in history. Like, I wouldn't go that far. I don't think that it's the worst trade in history, but I think that we definitely fleeced him at this point for what we got in comparison.
Yeah. Very similar to how we've taken multiple advantages of Carolina suckers.
Yeah.
Oh, right. So Nick, I know last time you talked about music.
Yeah.
Do you have any songs coming up, or are you working on more?
Yeah. So glad that you were asking that in general. So I actually have been writing a lot recently over the last couple months. I've been writing a lot of music. I actually have about 10 songs in the coffer right now that I'm working lyrically. The music is pretty well set. So I'm hoping that by around the holidays, I can start getting some tracks laid down. I'm going to be collaborating with some artists here in Portland, Oregon, and then around Wisconsin as well. Just I'm going to kind of do this one more solo versus a band, or I would kind of shop out the different parts. But I'm hoping that to get a new record out by the spring.
So, okay.
Is there anywhere that our fans can buy your music when you get it working?
Yeah, so I mean, right now, if you want to listen to the back catalog, my band was called the Weird Kids, and you can find that on YouTube, Spotify, Amazon, and anywhere that you get music, you can find the Weird Kids. You're looking for a neon green mutant dog is the mascot. But yeah, when I release the record, I'll put it through my normal distributor, and it'll be on all the streaming platforms everywhere.
Okay, perfect.
Cool. Okay.
I will be going by my real name this time. Oh, there we go.
There you go. Yeah.
So I've usually gone by a stage name in the past, so
Wow.
this time around I'll be using the
Nice.
given name.
Gotcha. Okay.
Peter, you have the next question.
Last Bears one, and then I'll start focusing more on football as a whole. I know you had touched on the receiving core, of course, which I think is where we have probably the biggest advantage over a lot of teams that are on like our tier or whatever you want to put it at.
Yeah.
Overall, just in general, what do you like most about the Bears going into the season?
So I think that would be what I like the most. I mean, you have a trio set of receivers right now that's dangerous, and it all comes down to whether or not Caleb can make that jump, right? And I mean, we've all seen what he did in college. He's got the mobility. His improv is incredible. I mean, he speaks very highly of none other than Aaron Rodgers, and you can see it in his gameplay. So, I mean, if he can kind of get the NFL footwork and timing down correctly, and he gets that chemistry going, I think that they're going to be able to put up a lot of points this season for sure. And then, as I mentioned, with that stud defensive lineman you got coming up, it's like if you guys can I can see you guys being competitive, but again, I would liken it to the Packers 2 years ago with Rodgers and the new wide receivers, right? I kind of think you're going to see the growing pains, but I think there's going to be flashes that give you a reason to be excited.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Different sports, but I was likening it a lot to like what the 2015 Cubs were. It was like the year before they became the serious threat. You could see the core they were building.
Right.
Yeah. So.
No, and I think that, I mean, I'm not trying to be super anti-Bears or anything right now. I mean, like, and we'll get to the NFC North predictions shortly, but it's like, I don't think that they're going to be a stinky like 4-12 team or anything like that. But I think that it is they're still rebuilding. I mean, to not say that they're rebuilding with a rookie quarterback is just foolish.
Right.
I said it about the Packers when Jordan came. It's a rebuild. You're rebuilding. It's not a swear word. But I think that if the Bears can lock it in this year, that maybe next year, the year after, they're going to be serious contenders if they can maintain consistency.
So this is for actually we have 3 questions, and I told them we would get to them now. Most of these are evolved around you, Nick. Can the Packers beat the 49ers in season and in postseason?
I mean, that's the dream. So I'll say this. I think that at this point, a lot of the issue with the Niners is a mental block. I think that with our new 4-3 scheme, and you have Quay Walker, Isaiah McDuffie, and then hopefully Edgerrin Cooper lives up to the promise. I mean, he was certainly on my mock draft. But with our ability to now shut down the secondary above the defensive line, I think that plays to George Kittle or Christian McCaffrey, which is Jets, like that sort of short yardage but huge yak chunk isn't going to be as much of a threat this year. I think that if we can sort of shut down those short yard slant passes early on, that we're good to go. And I think that offensively, I'll be a super homer there. I think that this season the Packers can hang with anybody offensively. I think Jay Love's going to pick up right where he left off. So and the fact that they went to the playoffs as a young team last year is going to give them a lot of confidence and sort of take away the stigma that they can make it there, because they did already. And now they have something to prove, and they're kind of pissed about it. So I think that there's a better shot this season. Of course, I've said that perennially, and then see what happens. So I would say I'm cautiously optimistic.
So speaking of Peter, I want to know your opinion, and then we'll get back to chat's questions because I have two more stories over here. Tom Brady recently said the Packers could be in championship competitors with the Chiefs, with the 49ers. What are your opinions about that? That was Tom Brady.
I mean, like if nothing goes wrong, like absolute perfect world, yeah, it could happen. The moment, and this isn't just from this past week, although I think that did expose a lot. The moment like injuries happen where you guys have to drop to like your second or third string players at a position, that's clearly going to be some level of trouble. Because I mean, Denver wasn't playing their starters, and 27-2 is not acceptable for a team that has any sort of championship dreams.
They definitely had their first string squad out there for a little bit. Like they definitely had their
even not for nearly enough to make that much of an impact.
I heard it was the whole first quarter, or first and second.
I watched a lot of Broncos fans get real excited to watch Cortland Sutton dunk on our backup. Like, good job.
Yeah.
Good job.
But I mean, just knowing what Denver is and such, I mean, that shouldn't be happening.
Right.
Period.
No.
Right.
Agreed. The standard is the standard, regardless of who's on the field.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's possible. I still think it's even regardless of whatever does happen with Ayuk, I still think it's the 49ers conference to lose more than anything else. And I think Philly is like their biggest threat, honestly, at this point. So
Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts is a problem.
Yeah.
Problem.
So I think that would be their biggest one, but being able to do what they are to start the season with Greenlaw obviously is going to miss time, but what I've heard they're doing is because Hufanga has the body for it, they're just going to drop him into his slot and then add someone else in the secondary, because their secondary is strong enough that they can leave their one cornerback on an island by himself anyway, so it's not really a big deal. And just having that level of flexibility, I think, gives them a huge advantage.
The Eagles also snatched up Packerland's draft sweetheart Cooper DeJean, who I was just
don't even remind me. No,
but not mad about the. I will say that I'm not mad about the pick. I was just butthurt a little bit, like I was for JSN last year, and look how that panned out. So I'm not Goody, and in Goody we trust.
that was actually why I was laughing when she brought up Marshawn Lloyd, because there's an inside joke with the pick right after that. So.
Oh yeah.
What's that pick, Peter? No. He's mentioning Elijah Jones. I know where he's going to, and Max Allen. There.
You're just fine.
Yeah. No, I've been joking with her that in the Cardinals game, it's going to be either Melton or Elijah Jones that ends the game with a game-sealing interception or something.
Funny. No. So Nick, there's two more questions for you in specific about your music.
Okay.
Here.
Oh yeah. So no, it's under Nick. It'll be under Nick Volkaitis. It'll be under my regular name this time around.
That's what Jamie said. And then this last one. When can we expect a song about the Packers?
When can you expect a song about the Packers? If they win the chip, I'll write a Packers song. If they bring the title back to Titletown, I'll write a celebration song.
Ooh,
we got to earn it. I'm just kidding.
So I had a question really quick, Peter. You can answer this too.
Yeah.
I didn't put it in the script. So Tom made a bet with Perna. I'm not sure if you heard Nick or Peter. Tom said he would wear Bears jersey week 11 if the Bears have one lost before that. Do you see it happening by week 11 for the first Packers and Bears game? And if they have one win, just one, he was going to wear a Bears jersey for that first.
So wait, if the Bears are stinky is all get out and they only have one win, then he's gonna don their jersey?
Yep, that's what he said.
What?
I know.
I would
Why?
think that if it's like if they're 11-0 at that point, then sure, let's
No, he said one
give
win.
some flowers.
It only
Yeah.
takes one
How
win.
about no?
Heck yes, they're going to.
I mean, they're gonna have one, so he's definitely gonna wear a jersey. Like they're not gonna get shut out for 11 weeks and not have a win.
Exactly. It's going to be kind of tough.
Yeah. And I mean, plus, if nothing else, we play Carolina in that stretch. So,
Oh my god.
That would do it right there.
I
yeah.
love it. I love it.
I mean, Carolina almost beat the Jets recently, so I don't know.
Yeah, the Jets stink out loud.
Yeah.
True.
I mean, you look at it. Our second string just handled Buffalo and Cincinnati. We'll be fine.
Yeah. Yeah, we're good.
Okay, Peter, you have question number 4, I think.
Let's see.
You kind of asked that already, though.
Okay, yeah, let's switch to the next one then, because I do have another one in the queue for later if I need it.
Well, just do it now.
Who would you say are your top 5 receivers in NFL history?
Oh, I see.
Okay. So I have who I think are deserving of that, and then I have like the Packers like receivers that I like. But so like just overall though, if we're just talking NFL history, undisputed that you put Jerry Rice first. I don't think that anybody would ever argue that. The next few, you can make arguments one way or the other who you want where, but those 4 would include, in no particular order, for me at least, Larry Fitzgerald, Randy Moss, and Michael Irvin. And then I would put Devontae Adams.
Okay.
How about your?
And that's the homer coming out.
That's fair.
Yeah. For Packers, and the reason I got super diehard, I was born in Wisconsin, so obviously I had a beer and a cheese head when I came out of the womb. But like the player that really got me hooked on Packers in general was Robert Brooks. Like Robert Brooks was one of my absolute favorite of all time. So I'd say in Packers history, my go-tos are Robert Brooks, and I'd give his tandem Antonio Freeman there just because that's the season that I came up watching. Jordy Nelson, Donald Driver, and then I mean Devontae's on the other list, so I guess if I have to subplant him, I'm gonna go with the new school, and I'm just gonna give some shine because I love Romeo Doubs unapologetically. I think he's fantastic.
Okay. I'm surprised that you did not name, and chat's calling you out for it right now, Nick. Don Hudson.
Sure. Okay. I get it.
Actually, the one I was surprised you wouldn't have put there was Greg Jennings, because he was actually almost the biggest.
So Greg, yeah, the 187 Club. I get it. I get it. Greg Jennings. I used to call him Touchdown Greg Jennings. That's what I used to call him because he was your deep threat guy. He's just talked a lot of smack over the years since leaving the Packers, and he's kind of soured me on a personal level. But as a player, oh, absolutely, 85 guy.
Well, like I get how the smack would, but if you look at that, most of it was directed towards Rodgers specifically, and on a human being level, I would much rather have Jennings on my team than Rodgers any day of the week.
Oh, there's not a single lie in anything you just said right there, Peter. There's not a single lie right there. I'd rather hang out with Greg Jennings than AR-12 every day of the week.
Yeah.
Chat is mentioning Jordy Nelson.
Yeah, Nelson.
Yeah, he was good.
That guy, well, Jordy Nelson and Donald Driver would kill themselves for 2 yards. They would just absolutely destroy themselves over the middle for anything.
Yeah.
Like that's why I like Romeo so much. Like he's that clutch guy, I think.
Yeah. So yeah, that's why I love, even though it's with a different team, obviously, but that's why I love that Nelson was wearing 87 because it reminded me a lot of growing up watching Tom Waddle do the exact same thing and make a career out of it. So.
Chat is grilling Nick right now, and I love it. They're mentioning Sterling Sharp.
Sterling Sharp, sure. It was a subjective question. It was my favorite, not just it's not statistical. I saw Sterling Sharp for one season, bro.
Right, exactly.
They're just switching his name.
I mean, he deserves all the flowers in the world, but as like a 20-some year fan, that was 1 year out of it.
Yeah.
Fine. In your opinion, in either of you guys' opinions, do you think he makes the Hall of Fame?
Sterling Sharp?
Yeah.
I think he's talented enough to do so, and had he not had to leave the game as early as he did, I think he would have been a lock. But it's just at this point, that retroactively with the amount of talent that still hasn't gotten in yet, it's hard to see them doing that at this point. Which I don't say comfortably, like happily, but like I just think that
Right.
might get snubbed.
Yeah, I would agree. I think like he was definitely on the way to being deserving for sure, but just with who else is out there now, like Andre Johnson just now finally getting in and stuff when he's deserved it since he was first on the ballot and stuff like that. I just don't see a road to it now. I think it would have had to have happened already.
I mean, Leroy Butler finally made it after all these years.
Leroy Butler's awesome. I got to meet him a couple times, man.
Yeah, because I mean, there's going to be like the next couple seasons. There's going to be like the do you put Tyler Lockett in there, etc. type discussion.
That poor guy.
Yeah,
Tyler Lockett. Oh my God.
But he's got a ring. I mean,
it's fair.
This class is stuffed with good players. Like Eli Manning is one of them. Like, Hall of Fame or not.
Who I think should be a first ballot.
Interesting. Okay.
So,
again, I understand that there's great Packers players as a subjective personal opinion question. All right, I heard you.
Gotcha.
Which is exactly why I phrased it that way. No.
That's a good point, Nick, that you made about Sterling Sharp being like the oldest. How many years it's been? Because that's what Dan Kotnick mentioned on the first episode that we had him on. Dan Kotnick said it's the age. Not a lot of younger fans knows about him now.
For sure.
So
then you have people like T.O. and Randy Moss, and like there's just so many people that have come out as freaks at this point that I don't know retroactively he's going to get the nod.
Yeah.
It stinks, but it's just a fact, I think.
Okay. You might hate this one, Nick. I'm so sorry. Who would you prefer as backup quarterback? People want to know Michael Pratt or Sean Clifford, or is it someone else?
So I'm done with the Sean Clifford experiment. We can move on.
Okay.
So I don't know if that's too hot of a take anymore. I think a lot of people are starting to feel that burn right now. But I think Sean Clifford was great when we needed him, kind of. And then Michael Pratt has a higher upside. I did a write-up on him after the draft because I liked him. And here's how I see it. And I got a little bit of crap from this I don't remember who I was talking to in the Packerverse there, but I was pitching it to somebody to bring in Tannehill. So my thoughts are to let Pratt develop. Sign Ryan Tannehill, who's very gettable right now. Let him coach up Pratt on the bench so that if Jordan Love does go down, I'm not crapping myself. I think the route right now is but I mean, they did that, last year we rode with Clifford, right? Like, I mean, we weren't trying to pull in anybody else. So if you're going to keep 2, then keep Pratt. If you're going to put 3, get rid of Clifford and bring in a vet.
That's a good point about Tannehill, actually, because Matt LaFleur actually coached Tannehill as well with the Titans back in the day. One name that I heard and your dad says Ryan Tannehill as well.
Yeah.
One name I've mentioned or I've heard recently is the quarterback from the Browns. TDR, maybe?
Yeah, I mean,
I heard the Browns don't want to trade for him. Maybe.
Yeah, I think really the only other free agent pickup for quarterback that I would go along with would be AJ McCarron would be okay. I wouldn't mind having him come into the building. But I also am not super convinced that we need to bring in somebody else at all. Like, again, I would be totally fine. We roll with 2. You roll the dice on Pratt. That's great. But I think Clifford is at best taking up a slot at this point on the roster.
No, I agree with you on Pratt. I was really never on the Clifford train, as much as people think, but I was
he's got the flashes, like he has certain plays, but there's no consistency, and it's just even today, I believe in practice, he threw a great bomb to Malik Heath down the side, but then what happened? He got into another scramble play where he was rolling around. He gets too flustered. He doesn't do his checkdowns, and he ends up throwing either for a loss or a pick. Like he's just,
Right.
I don't think he's that answer yet.
Was actually going to ask one going along with that too, because I know they did this last year. I didn't think they changed the rule with this or not in the offseason. You get that like emergency quarterback that doesn't
There's
count
flags.
towards your roster spot.
Yeah.
Would you consider? Do they have to clear waivers to do that, or is that?
Yeah, so what I would even say there is that you keep Pratt on the 53 as your backup, let Clifford slide to the practice squad because people are less likely to pick up Clifford than Pratt at this point, right? I believe.
That's
So
fair.
I think that
Yeah.
people are going to,
Oh, okay.
if we did it the other way around, we put Pratt down to the P squad, I think other teams would come and snatch him versus if we throw Clifford down, no worries. And then if we do need him, activate him as that third emergency QB during the season.
Okay.
Wouldn't be opposed to that at all. But I'm not going to be crazy upset if they don't do that.
Yeah. Now, what exactly is Tannehill's contract status right now? Is he a free agent or is he? Okay. Interesting. Huh.
And I mean, he can game manage and hand the ball up to Josh Jacobs. That's fine.
Right.
I'm cool with it.
Justin said, I don't see Ryan Tannehill coming to Green Bay.
I mean, I don't think that he is going to either, but just in a hypothetical universe, that would be what I would think would be a smarter move if they are going to bring him.
Yeah, like as good as Brett Rippon's looked or whatever, I'd rather have like a Tannehill too or whatever. I mean, Bagent's improved light years over what he was last year, and that was 500 in the time he was in. But you still want like that, just even if it's just as like a mentor type thing or whatever, to get both Tyson and Caleb Williams learning from Tannehill would be invaluable. So, because I mean, game manager, but he's one of the smartest in terms of like analyzing plays and stuff of quarterbacks that I've seen.
And he's just, he is that vet. He's been in the game. He has the experience. It doesn't hurt to have him just, even if it's just the fundamentals and the mentals and then getting the footwork down, like just those rudimentary skills, it's worth having somebody like that in the building.
Yeah,
for sure.
Exactly. That's why I was hoping like a couple of years ago, before they had gotten like the drama with Justin and Nick Foles or whatever. I love Foles, and I think that was the right move, but I would have much rather seen them go after like a Fitzmagic than Andy Dalton.
Fitzmagic, oh man. I love Fitzmagic. I don't know why he gets a lot. I think he's hilarious, first of all.
Yeah, his advertisements are awesome.
I love it.
One thing to know, when I was doing research about Ryan Tannehill right now, he is an older quarterback. He is 36.
Yeah.
And he has had a lot of years in the league.
Yeah.
He's been in the league since 2012.
He's also used to a running centric team with Derrick Henry and stuff, right? So I mean, it would make he's used to it. He has a coach familiarity with LaFleur. Like that would be my pick if they did bring in the vet for sure.
Yeah.
And I just found his agent, but I don't know who else. Are
you gonna give him a call, see what's up? Give him a
shot. No, because I had to make sure it's not one particular agent.
For sure.
What? I'm not naming their name. I'm not doing it on the podcast.
Yeah, thankfully it's not him because I know exactly who you're talking about.
Wait, Peter, text me the name. Let me just say that now. I had to make sure it's not one particular agent. Who one of the Packers has right now. I will tell you that. Okay, Peter, you have the next question anyways.
Yeah, hold on. Send it to the wrong person. But I'm not thinking of Drew anyone. Let's put it that way.
Oh, that's the one I was thinking of.
Yeah, I figured. Okay, so turning to fantasy for a minute, because obviously the actual real leagues, as opposed to these ridiculous dynasty ones, are starting up soon. Who would you? So it's going to be kind of a two-part question. Who would you think are the top three rookie breakout candidates, and then just general like experience, but might have a breakout season candidates?
All right, NFL enlarged.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh man, that is a. Oh, the top three fantasy players. I mean, it's hard to not point out Marvin Harrison Jr., who I think is going to get some points up on the board early in fantasy.
Yeah.
I have such a penchant to go wide receiver when I hear this. I guess because I mean I'd say Xavier. I mean like going to, but he's also going to be competing for reps. So I don't know about him necessarily. Yeah. I don't know, man. I'd have to think about that one for a second.
Okay.
Let me know what you think. Let me just think about it for a second.
Yeah. The one I'm actually the most high on, just because I like the situation he's coming into the most. Especially depending whatever does go on with Rashee Rice, is Xavier Worthy, because I think that's the absolute best spot he could have landed. Other than Buffalo, which Buffalo apparently forgot they play in the AFC again and made yet another trade with Kansas City because it turned out so well last time they did that.
Oh, for sure. No, yeah, Xavier. Do they have to keep getting better? Like, do they have to? Like, do they have to just keep getting
Right.
amazing, incredible people constantly? Like, I don't understand. But yeah.
Yeah. So rookies, I would go those two, and then probably this one's a little bit. I consider him both a rookie breakout and a potential sleeper because people aren't rating him the same as what they were just even in the draft and stuff. I think Brian Thomas Jr. is going to put up serious numbers this season.
Okay. No, I mean, I'd even say your guy Rome, I think is poised to have a really, really big rookie season. Like if he can convert onto the field, and just, I mean, Malik Neighbors is somebody else I could point out. Like I get all worked up when I talk. But yeah, I'd say that Marvin and Xavier are the two that I think are just going to have the biggest breakouts from that so far.
Okay. I can see that.
No. I have to think of my next question now. Dang it. My next question was about the Hale thing, but you already mentioned that.
Alex Hale. Oh, well, I mean, as far as replacing Kenneth, though, and I know that some people got butthurt over that, but it's like, think of it in terms that if the Packers had seen any reason to keep Kenneth on the roster, they would have. I mean, you're not gonna bump a player for a kicker because he's good.
Right.
So he's had some good development over the years. Like you hate to see it because he was so stoked and he was so psyched and he was learning the game really quickly. At the end of the day, it's a business, man. Like this is a business, and the guy that just picked up Deontay, like I'm gonna do my write up for Packers Talk tomorrow on their new defensive lineman they just snatched up. So I mean, they're making the right moves right now. So I'm sorry to see Kenneth go. Don't hate that Alex replaced him.
Yeah. And the interesting thing too, I don't know if you'd seen this with the international player, like not counting towards your roster, even if he is active and stuff like that. Exactly. I don't know if you guys had seen who the Bears were able to designate as theirs. The punter we drafted actually grew up in Australia, so we have an active player that doesn't count against our roster.
So we're both going to have kickers not counting against the roster through the international pipeline. That's incredible.
Oh, dear Lord.
Also, good on y'all for getting a punter.
Yeah, but I mean, it especially on because it may take the offense like a little bit to really like start clicking and stuff like that. So having someone that can flip the field like he can and put our defense in where they're playing defense inside the other 20 constantly is going to be huge. So
for sure.
So my friend Cassie and I, she was in here earlier. We had a question for you guys. Might know this. I'm not sure. how does the international player work? Because if I remember right, Kenneth had to go through waivers last year. We have to cut them, and then they have to go through waivers.
Correct.
Back. Is that correct?
Yes. So we'll technically have to release Hale, clear waivers, and then he comes onto the practice squad.
Fine.
Yeah.
The likelihood that anybody's going to snatch up Alex Hale as their kicker, probably 0.0. So I'm pretty sure we're going to be totally fine. Nobody's
That's all I
going to come
wanted to hear. That's all I wanted to hear.
Nobody's going to come and snap. I know that it's going to. Everybody's scared about Tuesday. I get it, but we all get like this every year. 99% of the time, our players are going to clear the waivers. Like teams aren't usually going to come and claim.
I just wanted to hear the Australian accent again.
And they're both from Australia too. That's insane.
Right. And that's what I like about how they had drafted him, knowing that those, because now, unlike like the free agent ones or whatever, we actually don't have to have him clear waivers.
Oh, nice.
So, which is the whole point in doing that. So drafting a guy knowing he's not going to count against your roster is, I think, a really good move. So it just happened to be a punter, but I mean, we especially because from what I was hearing too, that the trade with Buffalo to get back into the fifth round was already in place at that point. So that was basically just an extra, like a compensatory pick, effectively, because they were planning on Booker falling to the fifth, and that's who they ended up trading for. So
that's good though. Peter, you have the next question, but you already
so fun time now. Starting with the North, NFC predictions, and who do you think ends up representing us in the Super Bowl?
So I'm not gonna. I'll just get the shock out of the way. I think the Packers are gonna win the division. Like, I don't know. Shocker.
No way.
No. Okay, so I have Packers at 1. I have a ceiling for them in a perfect world at 13-4 as their absolute pinnacle. Basement at 10-7. But realistically, I'm thinking 11 or 12. I think is a pretty solid guesstimate.
Yeah.
Next in line is the Detroit Lions. And again, I have them more or less the same with a ceiling of 13-4, but I think that their basement only goes down to 11-6. I don't know. I got a lot of crap from Packers fans last year because, number one, I'm a huge MCDC fan. I love MCDC to death. I think he's one of the best coaches of all time. You could just see it coming into last season. Like, these guys they came and proved a point against the Packers, keeping them out of the playoffs. Like, they were going to come and ball out. And now this season, you got Jamison Williams, who you're going to have at full tilt. Like, you're going to have Jamison Williams and Amon-Ra St. Brown lining up full tilt, and that's going to be a problem for defense.
Yeah.
So they're coming to play again. I have the Bears come up next, number 3 for me. For them, I have a ceiling at 10-7 and a basement not too far off, I think, at 8-9. I think that they're going to be right around the 500 mark, maybe slightly better. That's kind of how I see that going with their growing pains this year. But I think you're going to start to see the reasons why they could contend. Prior to JJ McCarthy, I would have had the Vikings kind of pretty close there, honestly. Nowadays, I'm thinking that the Vikings are going to be a basement of 7-10 and a ceiling of maybe 10-7. Tops. If Jonesy and them can get the run game going, and it's not out of line to think that they might not be able to figure out a quarterback situation at some point. I don't think they're just going to come out to tank this season right out the get-go, like I've seen some people throwing at the Twitterverse. So there's a chance, but I still don't see them overtaking the Bears at this point, who have a more solidified crew coming in.
Wait, whole NFC. That's what I was confused.
Yeah. I was saying starting with the North, but
my bad.
But if you had like the rest of the NFC, how do you see the divisions shaking out?
Just shaking out in general for the NFC as a whole. So I mean, the NFC least, we'll find out. I mean, the Cowboys are going to win the chip every year, right? If you ask everybody in Dallas.
Yeah.
I don't know. The Giants are always just kind of a pain in the butt. They always just kind of have our number dialed up a little bit, so I can't really talk too much crap about the Giants. But you have the Eagles, and do they have a drop off this season like they did last year? I don't think so. And I saw in the comments, don't worry, the tush push will be just fine without Kelsey. Don't worry about it; they'll be fine. Yeah, it's hard to not just immediately put Niners, Eagles, and then whatever team you want from our division as the top three in the NFC in general. Like, it's very hard for me to not just immediately do that. And if I wanted to be Bears homer, I would just say, Niners, Eagles, Bears. And I would put the Niners above the Eagles. Personally, I don't think anybody would debate that at this point. I think the Commanders are going to be better than people are giving them credit for this coming season. I also think that my sleeper team this year is actually the Cardinals as well. I think the Cardinals come out and ball out a bit. So I think that I think they challenge the 49ers for the division, but don't come up.
Okay, good.
Was that a fear of yours? Oh yeah, I got you. The Elijah. I got you.
Yeah.
And then the NFC South is a joke, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I carried water for a long time for Baker Mayfield because I think that he got a lot more hate than he deserves. I mean, the Falcons. That's going to just kind of be like throw their four names at a wall, and whichever one lands in the ground first is who I'd pick to win the division. I have no idea out of the four of them who's going to snatch that up.
Yeah. That's fair.
One thing I'm going to mention really quick before I go on to my next question is the Eagles did get the wide receiver today from the Commanders from a trade. I'm not sure.
It was Jahan Dotson, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How do you think he's going to do?
Well, you get Jahan Dotson lined up against Scary Terry, and that's a pretty scary set to look at. So I mean, I gotta believe it's going to be pretty dang good. But yeah, it's kind of hard, right? Because you always want to give them the benefit of the doubt based on their talent, but there's still something to be said about coming into a new team with a new it's going to take them time to adjust. So I think that there'll be a little bit of a hiccup the first couple games while they get chemistry, but I don't see any reason why they don't have a decent season.
Yeah. Well, no, they're saying the Commanders let him go to the Eagles. Right. That was what the trade was. Right. So going away from McLaurin to now being like the, at best, fourth option for Philadelphia.
Oh, right. I had it all back.
So, I mean, you got A.J. Brown, who I would think would probably be the number one if they had to really rank them. Devontae, of course, and then Goddard.
Right. And then
plus Johnny Wilson, for that matter.
What's up with that whole division trading players, like signing players from other teams?
Yeah.
Like Saquon Barkley this season or off season. Like Eagles and then today's.
I mean, we let Jones go to the Vikings, and I mean, it's just
okay. Now I was trying to leave him out of it.
I mean,
but
I think that stigma has kind of softened in the years.
Yeah.
The recent years, if I'm being honest, I don't think it's the rivalry between division. I think has kind of. I mean, fortunately for us, right, we have a really good one to lean on at all times. It's the oldest one,
right.
It's the easiest one. But I don't think that interdivisional rivalry is super strong these days throughout.
Yeah, that's
true.
You've
seen an easement on it.
Yeah.
I'm just getting random texts.
Still remember laughing because a friend of mine is a huge Packers fan, and it was like rubbing it in, haha, we're gonna have like the best running back room in the North or whatever. And then literally 2 minutes later, I'm like, you might want to check ESPN again. He's like,
yeah. It was like the best 30 seconds of all time.
That hurt.
It was super fun. And it's just, I mean, I could probably go for a 90-minute dissertation on just that situation. It's like, it's weird because I side with Jones, because I feel like he was getting slapped in the face by the organization.
Yeah.
At the same time, I understand the organization. I get why they did it. Like, if he had been injured for the second half of the season versus the first half, nobody would have said a dang thing. Nobody would have chirped about anything because, oh yeah, he got injured. But because he got injured in the first half and then balled out the second half, well, God, we can't let him go. But look, he's an older running back. He's got injury that plagues him. The very first game last season when we're balling out against the Bears, what happens? Pulls the hammy. Like, it's just
Yeah,
so.
about
I mean,
2 quarters too late, but that's a whole nother discussion.
He's injury prone. He's an aging quarterback. We got the best running back in the league from 2 years ago, who they weren't even going to pick up until Jones left. That wasn't even on the radar until Jones dipped out. So I see both sides of the coin.
Yeah, no, it's like more and very similar, but like in the opposite way. Of what like the Rogers drama and stuff is I get why you would at least want to not go after someone that's so beloved in the locker room like he was in that way and whatever, because you like paying just for being a good teammate too at some point.
And it's an unfortunate trend that we have in Green Bay. And I mean, Rodgers was even infamously talking about that up until the day that he left, how poorly the vets get treated, how it's usually an ugly divorce at the end of the day. And it unfortunately it has been the case. I watched Jordy get cut before we probably should have. I watched Clay Matthews get cut. But at the same time, I watched Goody draft these guys and pick up people like Rasul Douglas, who had no idea, and turns out he balls like. So who am I to question their roster move? That's why I'm just a fan. Thank God, because I'm a bleeding heart and I wouldn't want to let these guys go. But they're always looking the next 5 years down the road, and that's what
right.
And like I think that's one of the reasons, like the Rashee Rice or whatever, and him just making a stupid choice aside or whatever. That's actually why I've liked Kansas City for so long, especially with this current like the core group that they have and stuff. It seems to they're one of the few organizations that actually actively takes character into account.
Did you see
both
the
on and
behind
off?
the back pass? The guy gets highlights off of a spite. The guy was just mad, and he threw it behind his back, and it became a highlight. Come on, how good are they going to be for how long?
So, but it's good to see like a team in general that actually says who you are matters in a excess of what you do.
Yeah,
and such.
no, they
It's
got a
good to
good
see
ball
that.
club. And I'm a big Andy Reid fan, who is incubated at the Green Bay Packers. Thank you very much. Part of that Mike Holmgren crew. The cheeseburger walrus himself. No, I really, it's like watching a video game, watching those guys play football. It's just fun. It's just fun to watch that team.
Yeah, no, that was one of the memories that I have of Lamar was that I want to say it was 2 years ago. That spin move he had against Cleveland is like seriously straight out of Madden because I've actually done that before, and it's like he shouldn't actually be able to.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely, 110%.
One thing you mentioned, Nick, that I love is I love how the Packers don't draft for a want or need; they draft for a want or in the future. That's one thing. A lot of people are like, "Wait, why are they drafting this player?"
Yeah, I mean,
like,
take Jordan Morgan. I mean, I personally was upset over picking him at first because I thought Graham Barton was a better pick.
Yeah.
We need a guard replacement. Why? I get tackle, of course. Tackle is an elite position. Go for it. But then what does Goody and Jordan Morgan do? They hand me my shut up papers and they switch him over to right guard. And I'm like, all right, fair enough. No need. And then so I have the people that I like, etc., for the draft, but that's exactly it. We're not in the building with them. We don't know what their plans are for the scheme. We don't know what they're actually looking at as far as like positionally what the competition's going to look like. Personally, I'm hoping my guy still has some showing out on Saturday and makes the 53, and that's Caleb Jones. That's been my boy.
Your guy, you have a lot of them.
Well, Caleb's who I kind of have been beating. Nagler does too a bit, and like he was one of my first big write-ups that I did an article on, and he like was a person that was juicing me up and following me. So like I try to give him as much shine as I can. So I hope that he does show out. Jacob Monk, though, our other right guard that we drafted, is also looking great. So like it's that O-line is scary, but also promising, and I don't know what it's going to look. I think LaFleur is infamous for saying, "Get the best five out there, get the best five out there." I don't know what the best five is right now. Sean Ryan apparently can't stay in shape, and I don't want to talk any trash on Josh Myers at center.
Oh man!
But
I was gonna say someone else anyways. I was gonna say Royce Newman.
Royce Newman, good God, get him out of the building. Please.
Oh no, but absolutely, I think you should start Newman and Myers just from a personal perspective.
Just get him out. I'm sick of it. Him and John Runyon can go hang out wherever they want. I don't care.
John Runyon is off the team.
He is. That's what I'm saying. He needs to go join his boy. I'm done. Like, I get it. And the Packers are such like ardent and staunch with keeping their veterans and the guys that they know. So that's why he's got a shot to stay. But please no.
No, I mean, there was this one actually I hadn't even been aware of that we picked up as like a undrafted free agent. I forget his name right now, but I played for, I want to say it was like Texas Tech or something in college. 6'5", 240 as a receiver. It was like, oh yes, please.
Jeebus, that is a big fella.
Yeah.
But yeah, speaking of big fellas, I mentioned it off script. I'll go on camera and say it though. Not a huge Christian Watson person. Not super high on him, and he's our big deep threat guy.
Now, is that more because of the injuries or just something you see with like the talent level?
Both. So if the guy can stay on the field and prove me wrong, I will happily chow my words down. But the guy has been injured the last 4 seasons going back to college. He has consistently been injured every year. And I hope that in Madison they got it figured out and it's a weight distribution problem, like you said, and he's got the right leg working out like the left leg, and that's all great. But is he a viable deep threat? Does he change coverage? Yes. Do we need him in order to be prolific and productive? No. And I think that this year you see Taywicks and Jay Reed step up as 1s and 2s along with Romeo and 3. Not that Romeo's 3, but those 3 comprising your trio set.
Yeah.
And then what I think people need to start putting some money on is the 4th top target being Josh Jacobs out of the backfield.
Okay.
I think you're going to see a lot of passing to Josh Jacobs. It's a point of emphasis that he's brought up, that Jordan's brought up. They want to get him his first receiving touchdown. And also, again, you have Luke Musgrave and Tucker Kraft, who have proven to be passing threats as well, which we haven't had since Jermichael Finley. So, I mean, like, Jordan's going to spread the ball around. It'll be a trial by committee. And for that reason, I don't see Christian Watson being imperative to our offense.
Okay. Question, because there actually is another one of you guys' receivers that you hadn't listed there that I actually do really like the style of and such. Where do you think that leaves Bo Melton then?
Sure. So I think so. My number is 6, right, for the Packers. I think the number for wide receiver is 6. I think that it's Melton over DeBose. I think that DeBose has had some good showing out, but I think DeBose could go to the practice squad and stay with the team along with Malik Heath. I know that inside the building we like Grant DeBose, and he's looking good in preseason. Again, preseason he's looking real good, but that's our internal bias. And the outside of the league, they don't know who Grant DeBose is for most teams, and so he could easily just go to the practice squad and sit.
Yeah.
It reminds me a lot similar to what we had done with I forget his name, the tight end that the Raiders had signed last year finally or whatever, Jesper Horsted. For a couple of seasons and stuff like that. So we knew how good he could be, but no one else in the league really caught on.
Exactly, and the Packers have a real good track record of hiding their prospects like that. Look no further than our current left tackle Walker. Like we kept these guys veiled for years while we developed them and threw them out there. So like I can't see DeBose overtaking Melton or anybody else in the 5 above him. I was sad that Alex Magoo didn't get more of a shot. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Well, he was another player that was apparently injured.
I thought it was hilarious that they let him even try. I'm like, oh God, like he was a good quarterback in the XFL, and then he was a good backup to have on the team. The fact that they threw him a bone and said, hey, try wide receiver, give it a shot.
Yeah.
And that was only because he was on the scout team wide receiver for so many snaps during practice.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Right. No, that was funny when like the news had broke that you guys had signed him. She was my first call. I'm like, I didn't know you guys were trading Jordan Love. She's like, shut up.
Magoo's a good guy. Like, I kind of put him in
Yeah.
the same camp as like a Kurt Benkert. Like, good
Ugh.
dude, solid locker room guy. I love to have him.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, business happens.
Yeah.
Great. I only have one more question, and I realize we're going off topic, but that's okay.
Right.
If the Packers could sign any free agent that's left, who would it be?
So, all right. I don't, because I don't want to cop out and just say who I said earlier, right? Like
Right.
Ryan, like obviously Ryan Tannehill would be, and I think that speaks as well to what my theme has been during this conversation is that like we have areas of like not lock, but I don't have areas and gaps of concern. So it's hard for me to find a position where it's like, oh my God, like if that guy's available, we should go out and get him. And I've seen the narrative going around the Twitterverse of the CeeDee Lamb thing, and I swear to God, if that pundit could just find something worthwhile to talk about, it'd be great. No chance that we're signing a wide receiver this year at all. Yeah, I think that, I guess I can't really think of anybody else outside of Tannehill that I would bring in off free agency at this point. The only other person that I was kind of shocked is still a free agent is Ngakoue. I can't believe that nobody snatched him up yet. But again, I don't see us pulling him in. So I guess I'll call it.
I have a feeling we were going to be taking a hard look at him if Hardy hadn't come on so strong like he has.
Yeah.
But I think now that we can move that money elsewhere, I don't think we would need to as much because between him and Austin Booker, they've been playing well enough to be a threat opposite Montez for sure.
I'm also pretty surprised nobody's snatched up Dalvin Cook. I'd have thought that he would have been somebody that would have gotten signed at this point by now. And then, I mean, even just taking a look right now, I mean, offensive tackle, I would love to bring Bakhtiari back. I mean, yeah. So that's a note that I'd written down. Like, so this is outside of the realm of they'll help us win a chip or something. But as a homer, there are the two guys that I would love to just have them end their careers and come back for a season. And that would be Bakhtiari. And I would love to see Micah Hyde come home to end his career.
Yeah.
That's fair. If you guys do decide you need to sign a receiver, by the way, I just saw I throw this out there. Chase Claypool's available.
No.
I'm 100% okay on that. Michael Thomas being available is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, but all these guys were all great 6 years ago is the problem. Like you got Hunter Renfrow, Julio Jones. I mean, Randall Cobb is still, well, I mean, he's got his TV gig, but he said he's open to it. Juju Smith-Schuster is still available. So these are guys that were marquee a few years ago, but I don't think that they're worth giving. I mean, if they want to come in for a bag of balls, like we're giving AJ Dillon, sure. But like,
oh wow, this list is outdated. My list is outdated. They still have.
I think anyone right now, as far as receivers, at least if anyone I was going to give a shot to, I'd want to see Michael Thomas because I think he's got the most left.
Yep. The perennial Pro Bowler, as it were, as well.
Jim Grant, still a free agent. There's that.
No, I think that roster cuts on Tuesday next week are going to be, it's going to be interesting to see what goes down. But the Packers don't really do like crazy. There's not anybody that I'm going to be shocked that they cut or that they put to the P squad at this point.
So no, that was the other, just with like the divisional signings and stuff like that. That was the other one I remember when ESPN had first broke the news of the Khalil Mack trade, but they didn't mention the team like that in their first report. All they said was he's headed to the NFC North, and I'm like, oh please God, no. And then it's like, okay.
Oh, that's awesome. That's hilarious.
I knew the Packers and us were both like two of the teams that everyone was mentioning, and then they just said that. It's like, no, not them, please, not them.
Man, Khalil Mack had that sort of Ndamukong Suh air about him with the Packers for years, but they both kind of just made everybody's butts pucker a little bit when they came into town because you knew they were going to come to be pissy and just bully people.
Yeah. So no, like even with losing that first game that he was with us in or whatever, is like just seeing the impact he made is like that's just ridiculous.
Yep. 110%.
Peter, do you have any more questions? I only have
Actually, that would be one I would love to see, just because I do. Yeah, I've taken a lot of heat for this online. I do think he's not just a Hall of Famer, but a first ballot. Where do you see Eli Manning in terms of the Hall of
Fame? Eli Manning. I'm going to choose my words real careful right now. I think Eli Manning is a good quarterback that had a great team. He has 2 chips. I think that the New York Giants won those chips, not Eli Manning. So I can't. If I had Odell Beckham and Tyree in that team as well, I might be looking pretty good. I think that he's a really good quarterback. I can't say that I would put him first ballot Hall of Famer for sure. Like I can't. I can understand him getting in because of multiple chips, but I just don't think that he had the talent to be considered so.
Okay. I guess like the one thing I would counter with that, well, 2 things, but specific to one game in general. The two chips. I mean, obviously that puts it right on the line of like the first ballot or not.
Right.
But both of them were against the dominant dynasty of his era, also.
Yeah, that dude just had Brady's number. He just had Brady's number dialed up.
Yeah. I think secondly, like I know the defense put him in positions too in both of them and stuff, but I mean, you'd say the pass that David Tyree caught, there's only at that point in the league, there's only like 5 other quarterbacks that are even upright to throw that still.
Sure, but it's also like I also wouldn't consider necessarily at this point Russell Wilson a Hall of Fame quarterback, and I think that he's a more talented quarterback than Eli Manning.
Interesting.
So it's like I think that's another point that I guess the caveat that I would give for my response is that I think much like the Rock and Roll Hall of Famer, I think that the words Hall of Fame have kind of gotten watered down a little bit.
Yeah, that's fair.
Whereas in like greatness and elite has been sort of mixed with the guys that were pretty dang good that led their team to some championships. But Hall of Fame to me means just lights out. Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Peyton, like the lights out guys that should be up there.
Yeah, I guess that's where I think like the first ballot is like the distinction at this point. Is this is like the best of the best versus just someone that deserves to be in. Right. So I guess it's just like again, character matters to me and stuff like that. Yeah. But for him to never have had an issue with that while playing in New York.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. That's fair for sure.
So.
No, and I can see and that's why I wanted to choose the words carefully because I didn't mean to crap on him like he was awful. Like, right. And also that Chad Powers short that he cut a couple years ago where he went and tried out for that college team was absolutely incredible. I watched that recently again. So yeah, no, he's good. I just personally, I wouldn't attribute first ballot to him. I don't think.
Okay. First ballot. But you do think he would get in though?
I think that he inevitably will. I mean, yeah, I can't see him just like lights out. Yeah, absolutely. Versus like a Tom Brady that's like, 110%.
That's fair. Yeah.
Oh, do you have any more questions, Peter?
I
know there's one more thing.
Yeah, I guess along those veins, just because I have a feeling this is where we're going to very heavily disagree on this one.
Okay.
We're in same question, but Aaron Rodgers.
Well, Aaron Rodgers is the first ballot Hall of Famer. There's no denying it. Here's the thing. Hear me out. And I'm not just trying to be a homer on this, okay? I'm just from a talent of being able to throw a football. I'm not talking chips. I'm not talking his ability. It's not that he can make any throw. He can make every throw. Like that guy is the way he played the game is unbelievable. His touchdown to interception ratio is ungodly. As a person, sure, I think he's a psycho. I think that he's a horrible jerk. Like, yeah, I'm not gonna campaign for him on a personal level.
Right.
But so Eli's got him licked there for sure, and Chips as well. I don't think that the Jets are going to bring him his second ring either. But yeah, to deny his ability to play football is just, yeah, I can't. Like the guy was just unbelievable. I've never ever felt nervous about a game if 12 was on the roster. We always had a chance.
Okay. I can see that. I do have him going in, so I'm not going to be like a complete anti homer or whatever you want to call that here or whatever. I just think with as much as you always had a chance, he also never seemed to come through in a lot of those moments, especially within the postseason specifically. That's why I have trouble putting him as the first ballot personally. Just because it is, I mean, if you look at like the even the touchdown to interception ratio, if you take the regular season out of it, the playoff one is horrible comparatively.
No, I will agree with you 1,000% right there, and I've said for a long time. I used to get mad at Rodgers all because him and Matt LaFleur and even our previous coach had Mike McCarthy did the same thing in the postseason. We would be chippy and we'd be struggling and we get into the postseason. Oh my God, we got a shot because it's AR-12, and then they would just abandon everything that got them there, and it would just be, where's Devontae Adams for 45 minutes while everybody else is out there. And then I will say that with the Niners loss that he had in the NFC game, I think if David Bakhtiari is healthy and blocking on the edge right there, it's a different game. So it's hard for me to put that all on him. He was playing with there was so many injuries going. Like it's hard for me to look at that. But I agree with you that at postseason he stunk out loud. Like there's no bones about it. But I'll take my annual division championship and watch him.
So. Yeah, no, it's like I was thinking even just with that game specifically, and I get like Lord knows I've seen what not having a healthy offensive line can do to quarterbacks. But like you even take Brady or Peyton Manning for instance, you put them on that team. That punt's not being kicked out of the end zone if either of them are there because they're getting their team at least to midfield.
No, and I had to swallow that pill because the band that I was in touring for a long time, the drummer was from Boston originally. He was a huge Pats fan, so it was always Pats Packers when we got that argument, and it was always Rodgers versus Brady was always the argument when we had a few beers in us, etc. And at a certain point, I bowed my head and I said, "Okay, I'll give you the GOAT. I'll give you that's Brady at this point, the GOAT. I'll concede that." But then I put Rodgers in that same boat conversation of the best of all time in the regular season with Peyton Manning or somebody like that. I can't call him the GOAT because he's not. He's not the greatest. But he is the most accurate and precise passer of a football I've ever seen play the game.
That's fair. Yeah, in terms of that specifically, I would put him and Drew Brees in a category of themselves. So
110.
Speaking of Rodgers, really quick, do you guys see his jersey getting retired this year? It's been rumored this year. That's from Mark Murphy though, too. So take it as you will.
We're gonna miss him when he leaves. I mean, I guess that comes down to Rodgers, right? Like, it comes down to Aaron when he wants to be done. I said I don't see them doing it until he's done. I don't see them.
Yeah. So. In fact, I don't think you actually can until he's retired.
Yeah. So I don't think he's gonna. he's just such a spiteful dude that I just like he doesn't get his chip this year. I can't see him going home like, oh, I gave it my best shot. I think that he's just I'm Superman and I'll do it again. Like I just can't see him giving up on it. I don't think this will be his last season. I think he'll play one more.
Okay, so then why didn't the Patriots retire number 12 for the Patriots or Brady? Why didn't Patriots retire 12 for Brady?
I mean, you have to ask Robert Kraft. I'm not sure. I know that they will. I mean, like it's 110%. Like that'll happen.
So I think they were going to too before he had come back again, and then that kind of had to put that plan on hold. So
he had to go win his other chip with the other team really quick, and then
because I know someone has 12 this year for the Patriots. I saw that and I'm like, wow.
It's also preseason too, so.
Right.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of jersey numbers, I know that I shouldn't get worked up about it, but I just think it's kind of rough to see the kicker sporting 17. Like seeing
you're gonna say that.
Seeing Devontae Adams' number go like that is kind of that's a little rough to look at.
Yeah, that was the same thing with watching last week, and I'm about to actually start watching our game tonight. But it's weird seeing 22 be a cornerback now because I'm so used to it being like Matt Forte and stuff like that. Like, what is he? Oh, right.
I mean, the Packers have 17 as a quarterback. Matt Gilprat is wearing 17 as a quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, again, was given to a rookie second string quarterback.
Yeah, it's true. Kind of rough. I mean, they tried giving one to Reed, and look how that turned out.
Yeah. The Packers also don't. If you go to the Lambeau Atrium, it's not like they have a crap ton of retired jerseys. I mean, it's not a lot of people that are in that caliber of player that they've done that for.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
see, that's like why I laugh when I see like the favorites that I grew up with having their numbers like reused and stuff like that.
Yeah,
is because we actually legitimately can't retire another number, or we're not going to have enough to field the team. It's like that if you're going to be not great in terms of like Super Bowls and stuff, that's a pretty solid place to be as a franchise.
Right, for sure. Nice.
So,
Peter, do you have any more questions?
I guess last one, and I guess just in general, you had mentioned like being from Wisconsin and stuff like that. Is that specifically what made you a Packers fan, or was there like a specific moment that sticks out that really turned you into one?
Yeah, it's a great question. So growing up in Wisconsin, you are born and bred, just like you would be in Chicago or anywhere else, especially with that old of a tradition. So, I mean, the table was set for me. All I had to do was pick up the knife and fork, right? But essentially, I played Pee Wee football when I was a kid through the local Y and the rec league and everything like that. And then I wanted to be wide receiver. And then seeing Robert Brooks do his Lambeau leap after Leroy, of course, I'll give it to Leroy for the inception. But watching them do that and be like, oh man, that's definitely something I could maybe do, at 7 years old. Or you think, but then I actually ended up playing on defense, and I was a defensive end for quite a while. And actually, Reggie White was kind of who I'm like, I want to be Reggie White. That'd be pretty awesome.
Okay. Yeah, no, of the Packers ones, he's actually like probably my all-time favorite, just as player and a person. He's just phenomenal.
I mean, it's hard to. The guy was a beast, and that's another. I mean, it's a free agent pickup. It's something the Packers were not known for, pulling in like a high-end person. But Mike Holmgren was just that guy at that point, and people wanted to come play with the crew. So I mean, thank God they snatched him.
Yeah. No. Reason I'd ask that one. I'm actually originally from Wisconsin by birth.
All right.
So
you were born into greatness and you strayed. I gotcha. Okay.
Something like that. Born in Beloit. So in my defense, it's actually closer to Chicago than it is to Green Bay.
Beloit, Kenosha, Racine, that whole area.
Yeah. But no, a lot. The main thing that it actually turned me into one is like when I first started following it. Roland Harper went to the church I grew up in.
Oh, right on, dude.
So it's like when you have a connection like that, it's easy to pick that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
that
100%.
So yeah.
Oh, what a cool intrinsic thing to pick up on too for the team. That's rad. That's really cool.
Yeah.
I went to the first time I met anybody from the Packers, I went to the return to Lambeau when they lost to the Broncos after that Super Bowl. And that was the first time I got to see them all in person. And that was the first time I figured out how massive they all are. Except for Leroy Butler, who I met. It was probably about my height, that dude.
Yeah. No, I remember like the first time I had gone to the training camp when they had it down at Olivet Nazarene. The first year I'd gone there, we still had James Williams as our right tackle.
Okay.
Holy hell. It's like you see it on like a card and stuff. You don't realize how massive 6'7", 370 actually is until you're standing in front of it.
All those monsters are out there on the field at the same time, so there's no frame of reference, and then you go to see them and like, oh my god, these are ginormous monster people. Okay.
Yeah. So, but no, like the other moment, and granted this was recent, so I was already well into it, but like even if I hadn't been, the other moment that really kept me with the Bears, I had gone to Charles Tillman, another one I think should be in the Hall of Fame, by the way. He had like a charity thing he was doing for his society around here, and literally upon like he was standing at the entry gate where they would like have people coming in first and such. Everyone he met, hi, I'm Charles, thank you for coming.
Oh, dude, love it.
Wow.
Fantastic. I love it. I love it when they don't
so
suck.
And then like taking time, like he took time to literally walk around and like talk to everyone that was there.
That's really cool.
And I had said that one of the things both my wife at that point and I had liked about him was who he was off the field and how solid of a Christian he was and stuff. And he literally touched his heart, said thank you, and how can I pray for you guys this week?
Wow.
It's like, what? Because there's not too many athletes that are going to do that.
Sure. No, it's just cool. I have met people where it's like, oh, that sucks because now I know that you suck, and like that's happened. So like, it's always cool to hear when you get a connection like that.
Yeah.
Peter, do you have anything else?
Nah, that should basically wrap it up for this one.
For this one,
largely because I want to see if we can go 3-0 against the AFC heavyweights before the season starts.
Sure.
I only have 3 quick things. Yeah, I was making sure. Actually 4. Nick, Peter some of you guys already know what the surprise is. I'm working on a surprise for Tom. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
If Tom watches this episode, what would you tell Tom?
I just sent him an email yesterday, so what's up, dude? Watching. Mary's cool. I appreciate coming on. You should definitely come on this podcast again. And I look forward to seeing you in Wisco when I get there.
Oh, thank you.
There you go.
You are the best. Okay. Hey, chat. Do you guys have any final questions for Nick? And I know Peter wants to watch the Bears. So as we're doing that, do you have any questions for us, Nick? About the podcast?
I mean,
anything?
I think that I've gotten a pretty good feel for you at this point. Repeat, yes, Peter. I like talking Bears and Packers with you, man. It's
definitely.
And Mary, I love to see that the channel is gaining some more traction here at 94 today. Awesome. We're just about to clip that 100 sub mark, and that's sick. I really, and it speaks to, I mean, I know that you have a really good adulation for Tom Grossi. So, I mean, I just saw him talking with Matt Ramage the other day, like a clip of him and Matt talking. And I think that you're doing what he preaches all the time. Just be yourself, put out the content you want to put out.
Yeah.
It's gonna work. Like it takes time. It's a grind. We're all in it right now. I'm trying right now my best writing for Packers Talk, and I'm just having a blast talking Packers, and that's all we got to do. So I really appreciate you bringing me on again.
Yeah, we appreciate that. I'm gonna That's Tom Grossi and Johnny Bark's signature on my wall.
Oh, Johnny
I was
Barks.
gonna take it down, but I'm like, nope.
Johnny Barks is awesome.
And like Peter mentioned, with that Bears player, that's exactly how Tom was with us. And Justin can talk about it more.
Oh yeah, Tom's exactly who he is off camera.
Yeah.
Nick, when you said that, I was like, wait, what? But then I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. It's the exact same person.
So I don't see any questions from chat. So, well, because we were kind of asking them in between.
Interesting.
Sure.
Hey.
No, I was seeing, because I had the free agency list still up. Just in case we need more like veteran help back there or whatever. Micah Hyde's a free agent.
We already talked about him.
That's what I was saying. Like, I would love to see Micah Hyde. Unfortunately for Micah, unfortunately for us, we have his replacement. His name's Evan Williams. Evan Williams is Micah Hyde 2.0, and we're gonna be good to go.
Also, one really quick moment about Evan Williams. Realize how his jersey number is 33.
Yeah.
You guys know there's history with that number with him, right?
With him, I didn't know. No.
It's his college number. 33 was his college number.
Man. Yeah, I mean, it took us a while to not think of it as Jonesy. It'll take a little bit, but all right.
So where can everyone find you, Nick?
Sure. So here. So that's my name, Nick Volkaitis. Go ahead and search that. If you Google that, there's nobody else named that. You'll find me. I released a weekly article on PackersTalk.com. It's typically going to be out on Fridays going into the weekend. I'll be putting out a piece tomorrow on the new defensive lineman that we just signed out of Madison. You can find me on X at nrobertsmusic there underneath me. Just see me crap posting and bantering with the fellas and whatnot. Come say what's up to me. I'm chatty.
I noticed you followed some of my followers actually, so I just wanted to tell you thank you from them.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
My friend Cassie is the one that followed you last night.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. No, I'm trying to get to that 500 mark so that I can start doing the advertising and the monetization. So
there we go.
She noticed that and she was like, Nick followed me back, and I'm like, I told you he would.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Peter, where can people follow you?
Right now, easiest one is going to be at Fresh Fire on YouTube, spelled the way you guys see on the screen. Actually going to be recording some faith-based hip-hop poetry that I have coming up soon. So
not what I wanted you to mention, Peter, but I'll do it. Fine.
Well, I was leaving that for you since it's your show.
No, I meant the other one. Okay.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, fine. So you can find me here at Mac and Cheese Podcast. My personal Twitter is Mary90118710. All those numbers have like something in common to me. So like 90 is for Lucas Van Ness. 11, I was a huge, I had a personal connection with Sammy Watkins. So that's why. And then it's Jaden Reed now. And then 10 is Jordan Love. And then 87 is Romeo Dobbs. So I wanted Romeo Dobbs before the Packers took him.
It's a shame. I thought the 90 was for Julius Peppers.
Okay, now. So you can find me on Mac and Cheese Podcast. I don't know our Twitter right now. We have Facebook. We have Twitter. Just look it up.
Yep.
It's too many Twitters, guys. And Peter, Nick, if you want, Peter and I are starting a Packers Bears podcast. It's called the Midwestern Chaos Podcast.
Okay.
So we would love to have you on as a guest.
Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know we're just starting that podcast. It's brand new. So you wouldn't have to be anyone big like Tom or anyone.
It's all good.
And
I just like talking ball.
Yeah, for sure. Like I was telling Peter and Nick behind the scenes, my friend Cassie, who is a moderator for us, we did start a Midnight Disney podcast, which is a movie all about movies. It's Disney in particular, but we branched off for MGM. We're going to be talking about Wicked when it comes out.
Oh yeah.
So my friend Cassie and I just did the Wizard of Oz episode, which should be out Sunday.
Mm. And she's also given me, because I have like a specialty with wordplay, she's given me the ability to think of the titles for her.
Yeah, I changed up the one for the Wizard Mouse episode.
Yeah, except for that one, but
hey, yeah, true.
Love it.
Peter's like known for writing titles. Actually, he made this one tonight.
Oh, right on.
So you can find me there. You can find me on the Life of Mary podcast as well, which is just about my life. I don't know. It's kind of boring right now. Fun episode. I think I can announce this because Justin and I talked about this today. Justin and I will be discussing probably next Wednesday, roster cutdowns. We're going to be doing Final 53. We're going to be doing announcing the roster and also practice squad announcements.
Gotcha. Big night.
It's going to be a long episode, but
big day.
Hey. Yeah, see you Wednesday night. Do you guys want to do final thoughts?
Go ahead, Peter.
Obviously, I mean, always good to have you on for sure. Banter aside, it's just fun to talk with someone that can actually like take the bias out of it and stuff and give genuine like assessment of other teams. So that's always good to see, because I know a lot of people seem to really struggle with that.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that, and likewise, like I was saying, I enjoy talking ball with you. It's nice to just be a football nerd and just have a place to geek out for a little bit.
Exactly.
And Mary, I always have a good time chatting with you on the show here, so I appreciate you having me back on, and I look forward to doing more hot takes. I'm sure I'll get a little bit more heated as the season comes up and I start getting pissy over the heart attack pack.
You're always welcome back on. We would appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Did I really just get a weather update? No.
Right
now, in Florida, we're in hurricane season.
So. Oh, right on. Yeah, fair enough.
No, cardiac issues don't even begin. It's like between what the Blackhawks did in like 2010, 13, and 15, and what the Cubs put me through in Game 7 alone in 2016. It's like I'm honestly stunned I'm still alive.
Actually, I grew up a Blackhawks fan. Actually, I was a huge Blackhawks fan growing up. I played hockey for a little while when I was a kid.
So, yeah, no, I actually have the same connection with them that I did with the Bears. Steve Larmer and Al Secord were also there.
Oh,
awesome.
So, God, I remember going. Yeah, I got to go see the Blackhawks. This will age me. I saw the Blackhawks play the Maple Leafs, and it was. I got to watch Belfour play goalie, which was incredible.
Yeah.
But I got to see Doug Gilmour play for the Maple Leafs, and that was just absolutely incredible. But
nice.
that was the game not too far after they let Roenick and Chelios go, and I was just absolutely devastated. And we went to Chelly's Chili Bar before the game, like the whole 9 yards to like get the whole. Like, I was devastated as a kid when that happened.
Yeah, no, fun memory I had with those ones, and I'll let you get off or whatever. They had this one game where I think it was like Amonte's rookie season or whatever. Ty Domi had taken him out on like a really dirty cross check or whatever. Mm-hmm. Not noticing that we were doing all defensive line change behind him. And seeing that, coach changed it back and sent Aaron Downey and Bob Probert out there directly after him. And you see, like, Domi as big as he was, you just sees those two coming and just like, oh, crud. It's like, yeah, you're going to get one of them.
Love it. Absolutely love
it. Do you guys have anything else to say? Before I
go? Yeah, I got one for off camera, and then I gotta go. But that would do it for this. Yeah.
Okay.